Today I want to show you how to use the Pasturebase app to help you better manage grass on your farm. Before you use the app, you should set your farm up online using your laptop or desktop to set up the paddocks, giving them a number and giving them an area. It's also a good idea to set your farm up in a walk order. So your first paddock appearing on the app should be the one you meet when you leave the farmyard or leave your house to complete your farm walk. I would suggest maybe leave the plate meter or quadrant and cutters at home. Really all you need to bring with you is your phone and maybe a bit of focus and concentration for the hour, whatever length of time it takes you to do your farm walk. So once you log into Pasturebase, this is the home page. You'll see home at the top, followed by cover data and so forth, different sub-menu headings below that. So what you click on first is cover data. So now you can see for cover data at the very top of the screen, and below that we have grass cover and livestock planner and so forth. So before you do the farm walk, I would say we go to livestock. Just double check that the numbers are correct for the number of cows that you're milking. So on this farm it's 182 cows. Their total dry matter intake on a daily basis is 18. We have 16 grass and there's 2 kgs of meal going in as a carrier for minerals and CalMag. Just hit save there at the bottom of that, hit OK. And if you need to add other stock, you can do so by clicking at the top of the button there, just add stock and select the type of stock. So for example, you might be pulling in maiden heifers might be brought in there at home on the milking platform for a short period of time while they're being bred. So just hit cancel on that for a second and go back out here to grass cover. So the do our farm walk is grass cover, it's the top one at the top. Click on that. And the most recent farm walk and farm cover that you've done, in this case was the 6th of the 6th, so it was last Sunday. Today is the 13th of the 6th, 2021. So you can see all the paddocks here, they're all kind of greened out here. That means that's the most recent cover. So what we want to do is we want to start a new cover for today. Hit add cover. And today's date pops up. It's the 13th of June, 2021. Click OK. So the very first paddock is Jim's site here, 1300 on it last week. Just click on the first paddock here and that brings you up paddock number 7, Jim's site. The cover on that today is 300. It was 1300 last week. You can see it over on top right hand side. It's been grazed since, so we actually hit this little bar, slide that bar across here. If we put in the date that was grazed, so in this case it was on the 10th. It was actually pre-mowed and grazed there on the 10th of June. And we don't need to worry about a pre-grazing yield. And it was, because it was pre-mowed, it was brought back down to 4 centimetres. So it's just hit save and close for a second here. Now you see it has disappeared, but where it has gone is to the very bottom of your list of paddocks there. So yeah, you can see here we have 1300 is 300 a day, and there's a growth rate of 114 on that paddock, so a very, very strong growth rate on that one. We'll go back up to the very top here, so behind Doherty's is the next one here. That was 100 last week. Today there's about 600 more onto it, so that's 700 today. Just hit save and next. So the third paddock in is called the Pond Field. There's 500 on that today. Again, that has been grazed and pre-mowed since the last farm walk. Click on that there, that slides across here. Now we select the date down. That was on the 8th of June. Select there on that, 500. Again, one with good growth, and hit save and next. So the 5th paddock in is called Avenue and Main Road. That one hasn't been grazed or anything since. It was 950 the last time. It's 50 and 50 now. And we're going to hit save and close this time. So hit save and close, and we'll just scan down to the bottom here, and you'll kind of get an idea of what's going on in terms of the ones that we've saved so far. So 4 paddocks saved, and the ones that have been grazed, there's 3 of them have little boxes with ticks in them, and you can see the growth rates are pretty strong there in the past week. So we'll just scan back up to the very top here, the lawn field. This one's a fairly wiry one now. It needs to be probably pre-mowed or taken out for bales. There's approximately 1500 in that one as well. So hit save and next. Now this next paddock is number 3. It's called Below the 1 Acre. The cover on that, which I believe it's just after being pre-mowed about an hour ago. Cows are after just going into it after an evening milking, so 1600. Instead of grass, we're going to say it being grazed there and hit done there and that. And so that's all we need to put in that one. Hit save and next. So the next one was one that was pre-mowed. There's only 100 on it, and it was actually raised yesterday, being the 12th. So cows came out of that there yesterday on the 12th. Again, don't worry about the pre-grazing yield. It was pre-mowed as well, so it's brought down to 4 centimeters. Save and next. Henry's site is the next one. It was 1100 last time out. It's up to 1700 now, that one. Hit save and next. The S corner, Doolin's S corner, 1400 on that one. It's adding about 700 onto that. It's doing 100 a day. Save and next. This one here, 950 is the cover I have on it today after doing the farm walk. Obviously, this is done as you do the farm walk, but for the purposes of recording this, I've recorded the covers and on the page and for the purposes of doing this video. So save and next. And we're up to 1,000 of a farm cover on this one here. Was 350 last week. So just hit save and next there again. So, and this one here is up to 1,200 from last week. Another one with 700 of a growth on it. So this one here actually probably maybe stronger than 700. It's grew very well. It's up to 4. It's about 800 more on that this week than 7 days ago. That's up to 1,400. Save and next. Now we're getting into some kind of sticky territory here. This one has a cover of 2,000 on it. It was 1,350 last week. This could possibly be having to be taken for bales, but for now we're going to leave it in and we'll make a decision on that at the end of the farm walk. And right beside that there's another paddock there, another one with a 2,000, very strong now, too strong really for grazing, to be honest with you. So we'll hit save and next on that one. Now, since last week, this one was put in a short-term silage cut now, and so that's changing back. The silage is taken, gone into the pit in the yard, call that grass, and there's only a bit of a white stubble on that with slurry after going out on it there now. So the date that was taken was a few days after the farm walk. So the farm walk was on the 6th, so this was on the 8th. Using the 8th of June for the date, and the cover there was about maybe 200 more onto what was on last week, so 3700. Now you have an option to put number of bales in if you like, but this went into a pit, so we don't really have the luxury of counting the bales here, so I'm happy enough with that estimation there. Save and next. So there was 2 paddocks together taken for bales. Again, this one it's back to just a stubble. No longer silage cut now, it's back in grass. Select grass, hit done. The event date for cutting the silage was the 8th of June, select that out. And again, we're saying about 3,300 was the yield on that. Save and next. Okay, so we're in the paddocks forward, and the next one is called here. It's a fairly strong paddock now, it's up at 1,800 is what it's been eyeballed at there today. Next one's an interesting one. It's one that's used maybe for the first rotation for cows, but it's used for maiden heifers now or breeding heifers, so we needn't worry about that. We're just under the options here in terms of status. We select other enterprise, or it's already pre-populated in this case. Save and next. So paddock number 3. This one here was grazed. It wasn't pre-mowed. We probably had to be something done with it next, because there's the quality of the graze that was very poor. There's a residual of about 5 centimeters on that, which would be the equivalent of 250. Every centimetre is worth 250, so we'll call that 5 centimeters of a. And the date, we need to select the date. That was on the 11th. It's only a couple of days ago, the 11th of June. So it's save and next. the paddock beside it very much, but when you're going into cover to graze out this time of the year, over 2,000 of a cover, you're really asking for trouble. So that's 500 of a residual. 500 is the cover on us today. It's not because of super growth, it's because of a very poor graze out. So that's back on the 9th of June, that one. So I hit save and next. So I remember this one grew about 600 onto what the figure that was on it. So that's 900 onto that one there. So now we're down to a paddock here, Scotland, granary beside Scotland there, that has a cover of 250. I believe the cows have just after coming out with that one. So where today's date is the 13th of June, so I select that one there, and grazed 250. We have everything again, very poor graze out on that one. I think we may leave that at 5 centimeters. So I hit save and next in terms of the residual. Save and next. This one was actually taken out for silage. It was 2,300 the last time it was measured, so it was well fit for silage. It's only a stubble left on it there now. That was taken with the rest of the silage, so we're going to change this back to grass because the silage has gone off it now. And the date of that was the 8th, along with the other three paddocks in total taken for bales that time. And we're putting in a cover there of, we're saying 2500. Save and next. So we're nearly there now. Just 500 on that, there's about 1,200 on that there today. Save and next. And this one here was being grazed the last time the cows the last time the farm walk was done about a week ago. Just 500 on it. Grazed that back to, instead of being grazed, that's gone back to grass. And yeah, okay, we'll leave the residual there for the date on that. We'll select the 7th, so that's the day after the last farm walk was done. So I hit the 7th on that there, pre-graze. Okay, very close to the end now. Pylon field, that silage cut later. There was 1,400 on it last week. It easily grew 100 a day for the last 7 days. That's 2,100. So this is silage cut later. It won't work into our average farm cover or anything. But because it'll probably go into a pit, I want to have an estimation on the cover. The same, this one here actually had a cover 2,000. That did exceptionally well. It's a reseeded field, good soil fertility. There's about 3,000 on that at the moment. Save and next. And I estimate this one to be 2,500, so 3 silage fields all together. And save it next brings me to the very last paddock, and it's a calf paddock, so it's already down as other enterprise. Save and close. So there we go, we have all our paddocks in there now. The orange one is coloured in because that's the one's being grazed at the moment. A white one there because it's other enterprise. And then we have 3 yellow ones for long-term silage, and other enterprise at the bottom there as well is appearing white. So what we need now is go to the very top of our screen. We definitely don't want to hit delete cover or change date. We go to view wedge. So once we hit view wedge, this is what populates here. So we can have a quick look at view wedge management. There you can see the pre-grazing yield is the demand by I think it's approximately around 70 by 21 days. Gives me a pre-grazing yield of nearly 1,500, which is about spot on. Just hit save there for a second. So you can see we're definitely in a surplus situation here. Before we do anything there, what I'm going to do is click summary at the very top. Just hit summary, and that gives a nice rundown of where we are today in terms of our average farm cover. So today's date, the 13th of the 6th, we have 350 of an average farm cover. It's per cow or per livestock unit is 217, which I think it shows up in the Pasturebase app. If you're over 220 per cow, you're in the red. Now that's very close to it. So, but the more important thing is the growth is 93 and demand is only 70. So our growth that's the highest growth we've recorded this year to date. Probably the same all over the country. So we're probably going to be in the surplus next week unless we take out something. So this is the most important part, is to make a decision. So you can see the stocking rate is 4.4. That's the 182 cows. Days ahead it says 14. If we go down to a grazing area, so we have some in long-term silage, and then we have 41 in the grazing area, nothing down for silage cut now, and then we have some in other enterprise. So what we need to do now is we need to go back a step, and we need to go back again, bring up what listed paddocks. So there was 2 paddocks there, if you remember, they were both listed at 2,000. So here they are here, 14A, click on that one there. So instead of grass, we're going to move that to silage cut now. So that'll keep it in the area, and hit save and next, because let's save for a second. That was 14A, and I think the other one was 14 if memory serves me correct. So yeah, 14 and 14A. So we're going to move that to silage cut now as well. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to view wedge, and we're going to go to summary. Now we can see our cover per livestock unit is still 191. It's possibly still a bit on the strong side, to be honest with you. If you were, if you're confident enough that you're going to get good growth and look into the forecast again for this coming week, probably the best thing to do is maybe go back and maybe there's one more paddock you could fit in there. See that 117A at the start of the wedge. If we could take that out as a surplus, it might straighten things out for us. So we'll just go back one more. So we're looking for 17A down towards the bottom. So we go here, she is there, 1800. Click on that. Instead of selecting grass, now we're going to silage cut now. Done. So save and close. Save and close. So now we have, now we're going to go to view wedge and then go to the summary. Now we're in business here. We have a cover per cow of 178, and you can see here the silage cut now, it's getting up to around 9 acres of ground for silage to be cut straight away at 3.73. Perfect. So if I just go back to cover summary and we go back one more step. So here we go. There's the 3 paddocks to be cut now. They're all highlighted in blue. And as I said earlier, the long-term silage is in yellow, so they're worked out with. So essentially, that's our farm walk completed. Our decisions made. If I go back out to summary, we go click here, view wedge, and summary one more time. So we're pretty happy with all that. There's, as I said, we're back on track. We're about 180 per cow. It's in a good position. And the last and final thing you need to do is to click up here with these horizontal bars, 3 horizontal bars. Go out to home and hit synchronize. Just give that a second to synchronize. One of the best features of the Pasturebase app, and I'll do a separate video on this later, it deals with using the planner, and the planner really tells you the order where you could aim to graze paddocks, and very handy, speeds up doing the farm cover in terms of there's a good record of the dates that you actually left the paddocks. So we'll save that for another day. Thank you.